Hello and welcome back. I am Chris with Marksman Shooting Sports in Westfield, Indiana, and you are watching Marksman TV. Today I have my first episode of a new series I have called Weekly Used Gun Review. In this series, I'm going to take a sampling of different firearms from around the store and do a 1 to 2 minute long segment of each so you can get a full length, 15, 20 minute long video on multiple firearms as opposed to a full length video on one firearm. This will be my way of sort of spreading information of a lot of different unique and interesting things that might not get their own review. Again, please keep in mind the whole purpose of this series is strictly to be educational. There is no sales aspect of this series. I'm not going to be discussing prices, market trends, or sales history of these items or any other items. If you are here to just view this as entertainment and as education, I hope you will enjoy this. Again, I am not here to sell you these firearms, okay? Anyway, I hope you guys like this series. I'm gonna go ahead and kick it off, and that's starting up now. Okay guys, first things first, just so you know sort of the format of these videos, I'm going to do about 8 to 10 firearms per review video. I'm going to start off with very usual and common and less expensive type firearms that you guys are going to see pretty much everywhere. And by the end of the video, I'm going to do the more rare and eclectic type stuff. So it'll kind of keep that anticipation building as the video goes through. I just thought it would be more fun that way. But anyway, starting us off, I have a Taurus G2C. Now, everybody remembers that Taurus came out with the PT-111, the Millennium Pro, and they've been out for, gosh, a while. It's been about 10, I want to say 10-ish years, and they've been very popular. A reason being is you have a double stack, 9mm handgun. They've made these in the 45 versions. They made these in 40. Very reliable, very lightweight, very ergonomic, and the best thing about them is the price point. So I'm not going to talk about pricing or anything like that in this video. As you guys are aware, I have to keep this watered down, but the price points are very inexpensive and in most people's budgets, okay? They always have been. Now, about 3 years ago, they came out with the Taurus G2C, which was an updated and revised version of the PT-111 G2, the Millennium. Again, these have stayed in their very low and inexpensive price point. Typically what you get in the box is two 12-round magazines. Now, since Taurus did come out with the G3, which is the full-size version of this, which hopefully I'll have one of those in one of these videos, those come with a 15 and a 17-round mag. The 15 and 17-round mags from that firearm will fit in this one as well. So that's a good sort of supplementary if you want to keep them as a pair, your full-size and your concealed carry version. Really, really good. Now, you're going to have a loaded chamber indicator with a little red indicator when you have a round chambered. Of course, your extractor is going to stick out slightly when there's a round chambered as well. So you do have that visual and a tactile indicator there. The texturing on the grip is very nice. It's got little patches of sort of the soft grit sandpaper type of feel. The rear sight is adjustable. There's really just a lot of features that you get on this. Now, these do come in a cardboard box. This one I do not have a box with it. It is a striker fire pistol with a trigger safety, and it does have double strike capabilities. So you do not have to reset it to get a second strike out of it. But anyway, these have always been very popular. They've always been a bestseller in our store. If you're looking for something that's really affordable and a really good quality firearm, something like this, Taurus G2C is a good option, and we're gonna kick off this episode with this one. Okay, second for this week is actually a pretty new release. This is from SDS Imports. And what this is a really good replica version of a 1911 A1 that would have been used in World War II. Now, the World War I version would have been just the standard 1911, which you're going to tell the trigger on this is a little bit long, but the 1911 trigger is a little bit longer out here. The 1911 A1 shorter. You do have these scallops here in the frame. One of the most notable features of the World War II 1911 was the keys, sort of the fibrite grip panels. These did a pretty good job of getting close to the originals, and I do have an original, and one day I should actually it would be a good video idea comparing this to an authentic World War II. I have an Ithaca manufactured one. Now, in World War II, the three common manufacturers would have been Remington Rand, that would be the most common, followed by Colt and then Ithaca, and then the two less common ones would be Union, Switch and Signal, and then Singer. And Singer 1911s are more of a unicorn. They only make, gosh, probably about 500 of them. If you find one of those Singer at auctions, they are remarkably expensive. Basically the price of a really nice car, brand new, a really nice like sports car, brand new. So the Singer ones are really expensive. expensive. Now, these guys are less expensive and they are very affordable. They're kind of in the price point range of a Rock Island 1911. So really for the money, they are a really cool replica of a 1911 from the Second World War, whereas the price of a traditional World War II 1911 is like a couple mortgage payments for a lot of people. So, you know, they're very pricey compared to something like this. So if you have a World War II centric collection, you're having trouble finding a World War II era 1911 and you don't want to pay the price, this is a great substitute because actually it's very close. Parkerized finish, the fit and finish and form on this is really, really nice. So again, just a great replica. I think is going to be a big staple in the 1911 lineup in a lot of gun stores. I definitely have stocked these before. This one's pre-owned, but really nice, actually really nice trigger on it. And even if you're not a 1911 collector, because of the price point on this, it's really nice, something to look at. So just thought I would highlight that to you guys there as number 2. Okay, so here's a really popular one. A lot of people really like these, although they've always been really kind of hard to get your hands on. This is a Kel-Tec Sub-2000, and you're gonna notice it folds out just like that. Now they've made these in many different calibers and many different configurations. Of course, you can get them with the 9mm, the 9mm Glock, M&P, Beretta, SIG magazines. You can get them in the multi-mag configuration. You can get them in 9 and 40. So these have been remarkably popular, mainly because of their price point. They are very inexpensive firearms in the sub $500 category. Hopefully that doesn't count as talking pricing. It gives you guys a reference point. They do come with one magazine and a cardboard box. Now, the cool thing about these is the feature you guys just saw me use, which is the folding and locking barrel configuration, which makes this a really cool sort of a handy backpacking, camping sort of firearm, a truck gun, truck defense, anything like that. The stock can collapse down. It's got 3 positions. You do have to remove this cross pin in the back and realign it with these holes to get your desired length of pull. That's how you also disassemble it, is by knocking out the cross pin, taking off the stock piece here and taking your bolt, charging handle, and everything out the rear. Now, a lot of the build construction on this is polymer / Zytel. You do have some steel components as well, totally adjustable sights, and a threaded barrel. Again, the package you get here as a little survival gun, really, really cool and incredibly popular. Now, Kel-Tec as a company is sort of like a small boutique manufacturer. They do have a small manufacturing facility in Florida, and they do have to, when they come out with a new line of firearms, they do have to, at least this is what I hear, retool their equipment to be able to come out with that line of firearms. So what you usually see is a spurt of one of their models, and then a spurt of another one of their models, and then a spurt of another one of their models, and a lot of their stuff will hit the market and then dry up quickly, and then hit the market and then dry up quickly. You do see that a lot with their more popular models like the RDBs and RFBs, the Sub-2000s, the CMR30s, the PMR30s. This, in my opinion, though, as far as all Kel-Tec products, this is probably the one that is most popular in my store and why I wanted to highlight it in this review video. But anyway, really, really cool. That's number 3. Okay, here I have what is probably going to someday soon become sort of a rarity. This is a DPMS / Panther Arms LR308, okay? As far as, I guess a lot of people would not really technically classify this as an AR-10. It is a 308. As far as, I'm gonna go ahead and say AR-10s go, this is probably one of the most affordable. Typically, most of your AR-10s are up over $1,000. The LR308s have always been below $1,000, so giving you a generalized reference point there. Now, Panther Arms, or DPMS, whatever you want to call them, was purchased by Freedom Group, commonly known to many people as Remington Arms. Them along with Bushmaster, so it's actually kind of funny because the AR market had been so soft basically since President Trump was elected. And they didn't really come out with this as their main point, but I'm pretty sure this is why. This was like just a few months before the whole pandemic thing that's going on right now kicked off. They made the announcement that they were going to discontinue production of all DPMS and all Bushmaster line products, okay? And both of those lines primarily just make exclusively AR-15 related equipment. AR-15 rifles, that sort of stuff, AR-15 pistols. Now, since all this sort of panic started up, I wonder if they're going to reconsider on that, seeing as how this type of platform seems to be most people are interested in this type of thing during times like these. But anyway, if we just look at it for what it is a very basic collapsing stock. sort of a CAR-15 handguard that do not appear to be heat shield. No, it is a heat shielded handguard. You have a low profile gas block, which does have a rail section on the top as well as a flat top here. Other than that, all features are very similar AR-10 type features. Sling kind of wrapped around the barrel. I wonder how that does with heat. And then on top of this one is a Target Tactical 1.5 4x30 scope. But anyway, these are a good, affordable, economical option for a deer gun, kind of an overkill varmint sort of shooter, or just a lot of fun for a blinking rifle. So before these get too crazy in pricing, of course, again, because of the manufacturing halt on these, something I would definitely think about if you're looking for a 308 AR-10 type of platform at a good price. Okay, next up is one of my personal favorites. If you guys have been watching the channel long enough, you know I love this revolver. It's probably my favorite .357 revolver, and that is the Smith & Wesson Model 686. Now this particular one does have a 4-inch barrel. You do popularly or commonly see them in a 6-inch, the 4-inch, and it's either 2.5 and 2 3/4. I can't remember, but a shorter sort of snub nose type of look to it. The 4-inch is probably the most common. Now, of course, the finish on this is stainless. It is going to be stainless because it is a 686. If you want one in blue, that's a model 586. Now, this one does have these are factory rubber grips, would have come in a blue hard case. Now, the 686 is a double single action revolver with a little hammer spur here. Really, really nice. Again, I have sort of medium to small size hands, and these just feel so good to me. With the extra added weight and balance to this, of course, being a .357, it can shoot 38 special, 38 plus P. So with 38s in it, if you're a new shooter, the recoil on this is really manageable. In fact, I do recommend these in like the Ruger GP100 if you want a good quality revolver to start off on as like a home defense option. Because of the balance and the weight and being 7 shots, this is actually the plus model. So you get 7 shots in the cylinder as opposed to 6, which is the standard capacity. But if you get a plus with 7 rounds, or the Performance Center version, of course, with 7 rounds, you do have a good amount of firepower there. As long as you know the tuning, or the tuning is good, the timing and the lockup is precise, you're not going to have any issues that you might otherwise have in a semi-auto, like stovepiping or any type of thing like that. So very intuitive and easy to use. Of course, ejector rod here. But phenomenal revolvers. And definitely one of my top picks. These came out in 1980 and are still manufactured today. This is a newer manufactured one. It's got the dreaded little safety latch here, a little safety lock hole there, if you will. But otherwise, you have adjustable rear sights, a bright orange front post there, sort of a color case hardening on the trigger. It's a very elegant looking design and always been one of my favorites. Now, to go perfectly with the 686, I had to grab a 586. As you can see, this is the blued version of what I just showed you, the 686, whether you like stainless or blued. I'll pull this out here for you. Isn't that just a beautiful pair of revolvers? Okay, so the 586 main difference, again, is going to be the finish. Now, this does have walnut grips, of course. Being a standard model, it is a 6-round cylinder as opposed to a 7 like we saw in the 686 Plus. This is a 4-inch barrel. Otherwise, all exactly the same. Very comfortable, beautiful looking firearms. The bluing on these is very nice. Now, this specific one comes from Smith & Wesson's classic line. And basically, Smith has a line of, I guess what you would call, a lot of their revolvers are what a lot of people today would call retro. Okay, these are revolvers that have been made since the 60s, 70s, you know, some of them even since the 40s and the 50s. And Smith & Wesson recently came out with a line of what they call their classics, where they started remanufacturing some of the older revolvers that they had production gaps in. The Model 27 is a popular one, the Model 29 is a popular one, 27 being a 357, the Model 29 being a 44 Magnum, or Dirty Harry's gun, if you will. We'll see hopefully some of those in some of these weekly used gun reviews in the future. Not much else to say about it other than what we just went over on the 686. Very, very robust, always been popular, these two. Really, when it comes down to it, it's about the style. What style do you like the most? There's really no doubt in saying that with the walnut grips and the blued finish, is sort of mirror bright bluing. These are just a more of an elegant looking design. This is more utilitarian and rugged to me. Take it out, abuse it, anything you want to do with them. But other than that, function, fire, controls, weight, balance is going to be exactly the same. Okay, now I'm going to pile on with the 686 Performance Center. So let me pull that one out. Now, believe it or not, this is a 7-round capacity, just like the 686 Plus. Believe it or not, these were sold to me by 3 separate collectors. And I just so happen to have kind of the whole family here. They look really nice together. The whole family here from 3 different people. So recap, 686 Plus, 586 Standard, and then the 686 Performance Center. Now this has a 2.5-inch barrel. That answered my question on the barrel length, so it is 2.5. They've sort of changed the stylizing up here on the barrel, so just what do you want to call them, sort of scalloped or lightning cuts there, and remove the lightning cuts from the cylinder. Really nice look. Of course, being a new manufacturer gun, you have the frame lock there, just like the standard 686 or 686 Plus double single action. They haven't really, to me, the action feels very consistent between the two. Performance Center grips, really nice wood grip there. Thinner profile with finger grooves here. Adjustable rear sight, colored front post, just like on the 686 Plus. So again, really nice. You're stepping up in price. You're adding a few $100s every time you go up, and it's sort of a different, if you go 686, 686 Plus, a 686 Performance Center. So you can look up all that information on Smith & Wesson's website if you're interested in finding one of these. But cool opportunity to have a nice selection of Smiths. Okay, and finishing off this review, I have a Colt Cobra. These are, of course, this one is one of the new manufactured ones. They hold 6 rounds. So Colt snake guns have been some of the most popular and most collected commercially sold revolvers on the market. Okay, the most popular one being the Python. Of course, they made the Anaconda, the Cobras, the Diamondback, all manner of different types of snake guns. They stopped production of all the snake gun line. I think the 686, not 686, the Python, the last one was made in 2005. That was their 50-year anniversary of that. Now, through most of the 2000s, they have not been producing the snake guns, but recently, within about the past year or two, they have come out with the Cobra, the King Cobra, and the Python. The Cobra being 38, the King Cobra being 357, 38, and then of course the Python also being 357. Now, a lot of people have argued that the quality and the workmanship of the new release snake guns is not quite there with the original manufacturing. I have a video comparing the new Python and the old Python. A lot of the points I made in that video would definitely still hold with the new manufacturer, the Cobras, where you had a lot of finish, hand finishing, hand fitting of the parts you're not going to get today. It's going to be for a couple reasons. One is cost, and 2 is necessity. With the precision of machining and everything today, you don't really need the final stoning and fitting of parts. Also, if you were going to have skilled labor sit there and put these things together one at a time, the cost of these would be insanely high. The value of these is still pretty high. Of course, a Python is going to be well up over 1,000. The Cobras are under 1,000, so giving you a general basis there for comparison. You can always look up their MSRPs online, as this is a new production gun. Does come standard in this sort of bead blasted finish. They do have a hammerless version, the hammered version. Of course, they have the King Cobra, which comes in different barrel lengths and all that. That's a 357. This is a 38 plus P. Fiber optic front sight, double single action. This one has a hammer spur and the rubber grips. So if you're looking for a little snubby 38, it is a good option. I mean, the action on it's very smooth and nice. Trigger pull stages easily. It does have a transfer bar safety there. No frame locks, of course. UID code, which I wish they didn't put on their new snake guns. This one, all the ones I've seen have come in the hard cases. This one has a Colt labeled soft case. I don't know if the previous owner just put it in there or if this one came with this, but all the ones I've seen in my store as new inventory have just had the hard blue box. But anyway, I'm going to finish that up with a little Cobra, little iconic 38, and that'll finish us up for this first episode of Weekly Used Gun Review. Well, that is all the time I have for you today in this video. If you enjoyed, please let me know by hitting that like button. And if you want to see more content like this, please consider subscribing to my channel and hitting that bell notification button so you are aware when I am posting new content. I'm going to leave you guys there. I am Chris with Marksman Shooting Sports in Westfield, Indiana. You are watching Marksman TV, and I will see you next time.